How you doing, Wes? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Gordon. How are you?
Very good. I've finally got the emails have got caught up since the new year, and the feet are well and truly under the desk and into 2025.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
off to a start. But what's the main topic of 2025 so far for you?
Well, there's a couple of things. I mean, Copilot remains very key and Copilot agents, but something that certainly we're seeing a lot more of and exploring further is Microsoft Places.
Yes, obviously with the ongoing debate at the moment, hybrid versus remote versus full time back to the office for
It's a big
employees.
debate.
A lot of organisations, I've seen it even this year, the last couple of weeks, organisations mandating, if not full return to the office, at least partial return to the office in terms of 1 to 2 days a week, depending on department, which days you go in. And I think that's good timing in terms of Microsoft bringing this features out for
Yeah,
general availability.
yeah, definitely. And as well, like to add to that, I think what's kind of created this discussion point is the fact that organizations don't necessarily know how utilized their office space is as well. So they're like, so who is coming in and who isn't coming in? Do we have any visibility around that at all? And and it's so hard to judge whether you're necessarily doing the right thing or not.
Yeah, and I think there's that visibility, but there's definitely the driver behind a lot of this. Like you say, it's about utilization, the real estate costs that companies are investing into having these offices. Are they getting the best return investment on having that office space?
Yeah.
But then also it's a case of people who are mandated to go into the office, even remote people who aren't mandated and are looking to have that escape to the office flexibility, knowing when to go in, what time to go in, and knowing that you're going to have the right setup when you get there. I mean, how many times have potentially you've gone to an office and you end up sat in the kitchen working on a random table on your laptop screen, and you actually get a better experience working at home with your setup. And I think the key thing that desk booking and meeting room booking is not new. There's been third-party products out there that can offer this feature already. And there's loads in the market that do have open API integration to integrate with the M365 environment. So your calendar and your sort of ID Entra, what was Active Directory, now Entra. But I think Microsoft once again are doing that converged technology suite by bringing that all into that single platform. We live in teams, we communicate in teams, we collaborate in teams. Why don't we have a situation where we can book our desks and plan our office days and our remote days? And I think that's the key thing for an end user, is actually having that single platform where they can manage their work life and workforce within teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I think about going into the office, like traveling into London, and same for you because you're even further away out in the wilderness, and you don't want to be going into the office just randomly hoping that people are going to be in. Yes, we'll send a message going, are you in the office next week or not? And most people say, well, yes or no. But then you'd have to go and do that with every one of your team members. Whereas with like MS Places coming into place, you can see who's going to be in the office, and you go, oh, do you know what? I don't want to work from home today. I'm going to go in the office, see my colleagues, have a good collaborative experience, and then probably go for a beer.
Well, I was going to say, one of the major things I use in Places, the people where you can see who's in the office on particular days, is obviously when I tend to go in, my team will tend to be in because we'll be meeting for a purpose and we'll all be together. But what I found really interesting was noticing people who potentially aren't in my team, who I wouldn't normally get the opportunity to collaborate with or to engage with, noticing that, this person is in the office. I might just message them and see if they've got 5 minutes to grab a coffee. And that helps with business culture, and it helps that organizational bond between co-workers, so that when they're in the office, it's no longer siloed. And I think that's one of the big fears people are having around the return to work hybrid approach of sales and marketing are in on Monday, operation are in on Tuesday. This is that breaking the silos down, understanding that we're all one team, and actually having the ability to talk to people outside your normal wheelhouse because they've got that visibility. So like you say, you message around sort of key people, and I'm messaging you as I'm going through Reading, seeing if you're jumping on the same train. But it's that situation where you've got the ability to see across the board who's in the office. You can then look to book desks, and obviously coming soon is the individual desk booking opposed to booking in pods. And I think that, Microsoft having that ability to say, look, I want to sit near Wesley, I'm going to book a seat on this pod. I might not be sat next to him, but I might be sat, in his vicinity, and I know he's definitely going to be in the office. Having that ability to do that last minute, because I think as well is people were so scared of turning up to the office. I know I am anyway. Scared of turning up to an office and being sat on your Todd with no one else in the office.
Yeah,
It's a
that's no
wasted
fun.
Journey. Exactly. And I
Yeah.
think so many times, had I known, I've had it before where I've looked at places, and this is where the usability is a big thing because someone had to turn theirs off. But I had a situation where I was finishing a customer. I could have got the train home. I looked on places. Oh, these people are in the office. Actually, yeah, I'll go work in the office.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like the people side of it, but then the business side of it. And when we talk about our favorite product, Teams Premium, and it being sat in MS Places being sat within Teams Premium, like it's that return return on investment in terms for the business and for the facilities team. So what within the places you can see all the analytics of like utilization, how many people have been in, when do they normally come in, and you can start to really plan your organization around that. And one thing I say is like, you might have 5 floors of a building and you might only ever occupy 2 of those, maximum of 2 of those. So why have you got the other 3? So you could save a whole bunch of cash on that side of things. But on the flip side, what if you're finding that it's over occupied and you're like, well, yeah, those people are sat in the kitchen on their laptops. That gives you that intelligence.
I think this is where the really exciting things come to places is when you integrate places with Copilot, because you mentioned obviously you've got some rooms that are constantly in use, but how many times have we all been to the big boardroom that's supposed to sit 15 people and there's a person having a one-to-one in there, utilizing that large space, and you with your 10 people who need to jump in a room are all crammed into a 6-person meeting room with people stood against the corners. The great thing about places when you integrate it with Copilot is it will look at who's accepted the meeting in person. So obviously now you can say whether you attend the meeting in person or virtually in Teams.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a situation you've booked a 10-person meeting room, but only 4 people have accepted in person, Copilot will prompt you to actually potentially look at a different room, because that way that frees up other spaces. Or vice versa, if you've got a 5-person meeting room because you only expect 4 people to turn up in person, but more people accept in person, proactively in advance, Copilot will help you change, potentially suggest alternatives. Obviously, as you always say, it's Copilot. It's not going to do it for you. It's still up to the human decision if that's a room you really want. But it means that you can potentially scale the room for the right purpose. And it just means that not only then are you getting the most out of all of your meeting rooms, because we've all got that one 4-person room at the back that's not quite big, not quite small, probably doesn't get the utilization it needs. And therefore, you always say, oh, the meeting room's always booked. I can never get in a meeting room. It just means that with the AI from Copilot, that utilization is so much better.